guys, it's Simmy, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on the, what's today's date? The 9th. My microphone up there a little bit. There we go. The 9th of July, 2021, to talk about everything that went down tonight on Friday Night Smackdown. I did actually enjoy tonight's Friday Night Smackdown. Didn't think it was a great show or anything. No, not by any means. But I did enjoy the show as a whole. So that is a good thing. That I did think the show was good. Almost right under. If here is good and here is great, it was right in the middle of that. But with that, thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, if you are watching on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways, either by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel on Twitch, one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, just like Broken King Slender recently did, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. As long as you link your Amazon account to your Twitch account, then Prime Gaming gives you a whole slew of things. You get DLC for free, you get cosmetics and games for free, and you get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I greatly appreciate it if you supported us right here, PW Unlimited. On the flip side, if you're watching over on YouTube, you can help us out a couple of different ways. If you're watching in the live chat, you can help us out with a super chat or a super sticker donation. All super chats do get read live on the air. Also, remember, you can subscribe to the channel as a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to non-news videos, early access to podcast episodes, and so much more. But the most direct way to support us at Pro Wrestling Unlimited is to head over to patreon.com/PW Unlimited. Also, remember, guys, if you want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. It is in the live chat, and we'll be scrolling periodically throughout the show down here, right down here, across the bottom of the screen. But with that, we've got Friday Night Smackdown to talk about, as my eye is burning for some reason, and I don't know why. But we got SmackDown here, and this show opens up with a recap of Edge returning 2 weeks ago and attacking Roman Reigns. It also included the Jimmy Uso stuff from last week. And then the first actual person we see on this show is Jimmy Uso. Well, Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman. And I go, oh, Jimmy's going to be okay. They ain't mad at him or anything. And if they are, they ain't taking it out on him or whatnot. But with that, Jimmy tried to enter Roman Reigns' locker room. Paul Heyman stopped him. Heyman noted that Reigns is getting ready to go to the ring, and he'll deal with Uso later. Heyman promised him that Reigns is going to give him the attention that he deserves. Uso would walk off, and Heyman gave him the evil grin. After we actually saw the opening video to SmackDown, which we haven't seen in God knows how long, I'm like, what? We see Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and Gorilla. Heyman approached. Well, we saw Roman and Gorilla, and then Heyman approaches. Heyman approaches and tells him his time. They headed towards the ring. Michael Cole and Pat McAfee noted that it's the final SmackDown from the Thunderdome. They pushed that Roman Reigns versus Edge at Money in the Bank is the first singles match that these two have ever had. And, well, duh. First singles match together. Roman Reigns came out and they piped in some fake boos and some fake loud Roman sucks chants. Roman noted that there's a lot of stuff that he didn't like about last week. He was furious that Edge claimed that he's scared of him. Reigns mentioned that he had a few seconds of fear when Edge first put him in that crossface with the bar back at WrestleMania, but then Reigns said, ask any fighter. You'll have a little bit, then it goes away. He said something about Brock Lesnar as well. Reigns said that he used the few seconds of fear to defeat Edge and Daniel Bryan to, what does he call it? Crap, I can't remember the line. Something stack them and pin them or something like that. Someone will tell me in the live chat. Jimmy Uso would make his way down to the ring. As Reigns said, it's time for me to talk about family. Uso pointed out that he called out Edge for Roman, but he was on vacation and Roman wasn't here. And Roman goes, "Excuse me? Vacation? Anybody's deserved a vacation is me. I didn't take vacation. I went and I did your job last week because you couldn't do it." And out comes Jey Uso. Roman delivered that perfectly, where he was just like, "Vacation? If anyone's deserved a vacation, it's me, and that's not what I did." Jey Uso music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring. He said he returned for all three of them, not just for Roman, not just for Jimmy. Jey told Reigns, "Well, your right-hand man is back, though." But he also came back to be with Jimmy. He wants him and Jimmy to become 7-time tag team champions. He said he's here for Jimmy during these dark times. Was that the reference we were waiting for about the DUI arrest? I don't know. Possibly. If it was the only reference they made to it. I would have liked for Jimmy to come out and Roman be like, "You disappointed the family this week, but we know you're going to make it up to us," or something like that. I thought that they should say something. But I think Jay may have got the only little crack in on it. That's it. Johnson 740 says, "Smash them, stack them, pin them." That's what it is. I couldn't remember the smash them. But I thought it would have been great if Roman would have been like, "Jimmy, disappointed the family this week." I thought that would have been a cool little thing to throw in there, but they didn't. I think Jay may have got a line in when he said he's here for Jimmy during these darker times, and he's ready for them to become 7-time tag team champions. Reigns said that's all he's ever wanted. The Usos to be tag team champions, and for him to be Universal Champion as long as he wants, all at the same time. Reigns pointed out they just have to do things his way, and his way is together. Reigns opened his arms and embraced his cousins. They all hugged, and Reigns looked right into the camera like, "I'm going to use these fuckers to my advantage. They think that I'm with them, but they're not." Like, he had that look on his face like, "Got these suckers. They're going to do exactly what I tell them to do." Reigns and the Usos were great in this segment, and the hug at the end was perfect, especially the way Roman stared right into the camera. This was like a near-perfect segment, I'm going to say it right now. In the back, Caleb Braxton was interviewing Baron Corbin. He mentioned his financial problems. He promised it would all change when he makes it to Money in the Bank and gets the briefcase. He said he's done it before, and he'll do it again. Next up, we had a Money in the Bank qualifier, Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura. Match went just shy of 11 minutes. Corbin and Nakamura had a fine match. I thought it went a little too long, but it was all right. It wasn't bad by any means. The recapped Baron Corbin being on a losing streak, his bad luck, getting his car repoed and all that other stuff. When Big E would come down to ringside, Big E had his couch and his mini fridge there, and he told Pat McAfee, "Join me on the couch, bro." And then they each got a foot bath. And Corbin's like, "What the hell are you doing out here?" And Big E's like, "Don't worry about me. Look what's on the screen right now. They're going to put it up there right now." And it was Rick Boogs and Nakamura driving up in fucking Baron Corbin's repossessed Jeep. And my first thought was, so did they steal it and not repo it? But then Boogs goes, "Man, we got a good deal on this at the auction." So apparently it got repoed and auctioned off. Stupidest shit they've done in a while. Well, not stupidest, but it's pretty stupid. The whole he's losing his possessions because now that he's not the king, he doesn't have money. Yes, I know they said that he made some bad financial investments, but it's because he lost the fucking crown, and it's so stupid. Anyways, Corbin jumped Nakamura as soon as he made his entrance, and Boogs made the save. The match started during the commercial break. Corbin was in control when we came back. Nakamura, though, fought back quickly and hit an enziguri. He followed this up with a running knee in the corner. He then hit a sliding knee for a near fall. Corbin regained control and hit a back suplex for a near fall. We went to commercial after Nakamura rolled out of the ring, but Corbin gave him a brainbuster on the announce table. Back from the commercial break, Corbin went shoulder first into the post. Nakamura was firmly in control until Corbin hit a deep 6 for a near fall. Corbin tried to place Nakamura on the top rope. Nakamura fought back and locked on a triangle. Corbin tried to fight back and hit a powerbomb, but Nakamura held on. Corbin made it to the ropes to break the hold. Nakamura went for the Kinshasa, but Corbin countered with a clothesline. The finish of the match then came when Nakamura hit a series of knees and a Kinshasa for the win. The Nakamura qualifies for Money in the Bank. McAfee and Big E rocked out to Nakamura's theme as well. So, win on. Broken King Slater says, is WWE trying to turn Corbin babyface? Yes, because they've trademarked the term Happy Corbin. And he's going to go through this drought of bad luck and being sad for himself, and then something apparently is going to happen. He's going to get happy, and he's going to become Happy Corbin. In the back, Jimmy apologized to Jay for everything he said before. Jay accepted the apology. He said, we're family, Oos. Jay just wondered if, well, they should try to take out Edge for Roman. So next up, we got an interesting matchup. Tamina and Natalya come out, and they go, there's this team that says they want to face us tonight. They demand take us on. They said they'll beat us and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, if they really are that confident, let them come out now. And out would come Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox on the tank. But they referred to them as Shotzi and Nox. Now, here's the thing. Throughout the entire match, Shotzi was only called Shotzi, not Shotzi Blackheart. But throughout the match, Tegan Nox was not just referred to as Nox. Both Michael Cole and Pat McAfee called her Tegan multiple times. So, I guess the tag team name is Shotzi and Nox. But is she just Nox or is she Tegan Nox? Because like I said, on commentary, they called her Tegan multiple times. But my big question is, why not bring up Shotzi and Ember? They're the established team. Those two are fantastic together. Nothing against Tegan Nox, but I love the pairing of Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. And for that not to be the team we got tonight, very disappointing. Very disappointing. With the match itself in about 3.5 minutes, a little shy of 3.5 minutes. Match was fine, but they didn't really get enough time to really show us who these new women are. Pat McAfee did reference that they came from NXT though, which is different than normal. Because usually we get call-ups and they're just like, well, you've never seen these women before. But at one point, Shotzi went for her senton off the top rope, and Pat goes, if you've never seen Shotzi and NXT fly around this ring, you're in for a treat. But with that, Natalya went for the pin early on as Tamina rocked Shotzi with the hard clothesline and an elbow. Nox broke up the pin attempt, and she followed this up with a cannonball to Tamina in the corner. Natalya rocked Nox with the discus clothesline to take her out of the match. Shotzi then took out Natalya and hit a ball pit to pick up the victory. Her senton off the top rope. So the new girls beat the tag team champions. Interesting move here. Very interesting move. And not the only call-up we learned about tonight. Then we got Megan Morant. And you could tell she practiced these 2 or 3 lines. I don't know how many times. She literally says, and I quote, congratulations to Shotzi and Nox on their big victory. Now, let me introduce my guest. He is the rated R superstar, Edge. And Edge would make his way in. Like, just the way she said it. Like, she was trying to remember these lines. Like, just let these people talk. It did not come off like a genuine, Shotzi, Nox, they got a big win. Now, I got Edge to talk to. You know, kind of just like you watch the fucking NBA finals. And you got the sideline reporters. Like, oh, we're here and we're going to talk to so-and-so after the match or after the game just happened. How was that game? You scored such and such. Blah. Like, it just comes off natural. But in WWE, these people are they're brainwashed to be in a mode. So Edge says that he's going to call out Roman later on tonight. And he wondered if Roman even has the guts to accept his challenge. and not only accept his challenge, but come out there and face him by himself. The next, Sonya Deville comes out with a special announcement. As we learned earlier today, unfortunately, Bayley has suffered an ACL injury and will be out of action for 6 to 9 months. Oof. Wow. But with that, Bianca Belair's got no challenger for Money in the Bank. Heck, Bianca Belair doesn't even have a match now at Money in the Bank because Sonya came out and said she is moving the SmackDown Women's title match from Money in the Bank to SmackDown next week in Houston. And in doing so, Bianca will be defending against Carmella. So Carmella comes down and she says all these things about Carmella, 2-time Money in the Bank winner, former SmackDown Women's Champion. And Carmella goes, well, you forgot the most important thing, Sonya. I'm the most beautiful woman in all of WWE. So as she says that, Liv Morgan would make her way out to the ring and go, what is this? Sonya, you're just giving out opportunities. Nobody earns things here on SmackDown. I've beaten Carmella twice. I beat Zelina Vega last week. Where's my opportunity? She gets in Sonya's face, and Sonya goes, well, if you shut your yap for like 30 seconds, you'd hear my next announcement. You will be replacing Carmella in Money in the Bank. And she's just like, me? No way. Oh, my God. And I'm like, well, that was kind of dumb, the way she reacted to that. But here's the kicker. So we were told earlier this week that the original plan for Money in the Bank and Liv Morgan was for Liv to be added next week in front of the live crowd. She would get screwed again this week, as far as they would tell her, or they would say so-and-so is just being added to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Wasn't given a name, so I don't know who. And then Liv would come out and do the whole, what the hell, I'm not overlooked, this and that. And then next week, she would get added. And they wanted to do that in front of the live crowd, hopefully get a huge big pop from that live crowd for Liv Morgan, and then get social media buzz on Liv Morgan going into Money in the Bank saying, hey, Liv kept getting overlooked. She's now finally in the match. Let's rally behind her to win this match. That's what the hope was. Well, to make Liv a big baby face coming out of Money in the Bank. I don't know if she wins Money in the Bank, but the plan is to use the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and her being overlooked over and over again to make her a big baby face. But with that, Sonya Deville, again, like I stated, announced that the SmackDown Women's title match will be next week on SmackDown. Liv is now taking Carmella's spot in Money in the Bank, and out would come Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair says, I don't know if Bayley's faking it or she has a real injury. But if it's real, I will say this one thing. I do respect Bayley's competitiveness. Or she says something along those lines. She basically says she respects Bayley as a competitor. And she goes, but as far as Carmella goes, girl, I'm going to beat you next week. Belair told Carmella that see her next week. She's not worried about her. In the back, Paul Heyman told Roman Reigns that Edge is going to call him out. And then he questioned his manhood, and that ain't good. Vignette then played announcing the debut upcoming of Toni Storm. So yes, Toni Storm is coming to the main roster. That is now 3 women from NXT that have debuted on that are planned for SmackDown. That's Shotzi, Tegan, and now Toni Storm. Is it Toni coming soon? We don't know when. Probably after Money in the Bank. Mr. Bangs says, so no women's title match at Money in the Bank. Not for SmackDown. We've still got Rhea and Charlotte from Raw for the Raw women's title, but no SmackDown women's title at SmackDown or at Money in the Bank. It's now moved to SmackDown in front of the live crowd next week. Then we got an 18.5-minute qualifier for the Money in the Bank ladder match, the men's Money in the Bank qualifier, Money in the Bank ladder match. Seth Rollins and Cesaro. This match was good, if not great, and both men told a fantastic story here. Kevin Owens was on commentary, joining Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. I'm also going to say about Pat, still great on commentary. Not as energetic as he was last week. At least that's not how I felt. But he was still really good. Cesaro caught Rollins in midair and hit a backbreaker to gain the early advantage. Cesaro rolled him up with a flying crossbody for a 2, but Rollins rolled out of the ring and was furious. After a commercial break, Rollins slammed Cesaro face first onto the announce table to take control. He then shoved Cesaro into the stairs. Rollins slowed the pace down with a chin lock. Cesaro escaped, and they fought over the backslide. Rollins landed on his feet and rocked Cesaro with a kick to the back of the head. Cesaro fought back with uppercuts, and Rollins cut him off. Cesaro recovered and scored a near fall. Then in a crazy sequence, Cesaro climbs to the top rope. Rollins cuts him off. Rollins then hits a superplex and rolls through. He then went for the Falcon Arrow, but Cesaro countered with the suplex over the top rope to the floor. These guys go crashing. That leads to a break, and after the break, Cesaro hit Rollins with a giant swing. Rollins escaped a sharpshooter attempt. Cesaro came back with an uppercut. Cesaro at one point attempted the uppercut off the second rope, but Rollins countered it. Rollins then dropped Cesaro on the exposed turnbuckle, which busted him open. Rollins then tried to win by countout, but Cesaro just barely made it back into the ring. Rollins then knocked Cesaro back to ringside and gave him a DDT face first on the ramp. Rollins then jumped back into the ring and tried to win by countout yet again, but Cesaro made it back in the ring. Rollins went for the curb stomp, but Cesaro countered with a sharpshooter. Rollins slipped out, but Cesaro hit an uppercut. Cesaro fell to the mat, and Rollins hit the curb stomp to pick up the victory. So Seth Rollins is the final man to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So now in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match from Monday Night Raw, it is Riddle, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, and John Morrison. From SmackDown, it is Big E, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, or as they're calling him, King Nakamura, Kingsuke, and Seth Rollins. Hell of a lineup right there for that match. This match is going to be great. In the back, Usos went to Edge's locker room, ready to pounce. Jimmy goes to knock on the door, and Jay goes, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And Jimmy's like, "Well, we're going to get him, right?" And Jay's like, "No, not yet. Wait for him to come out, not knowing we're here, and then we pounce." And they go, "Oh, okay." Back from the break, Jimmy got impatient. They ran into Edge's locker room. Edge wasn't there. Caleb Braxton, this is great. Caleb Braxton goes to interview Seth Rollins, and he's celebrating that he's made it into Money in the Bank, and that last time I was in Money in the Bank was the only time I've ever been in Money in the Bank, and I won. And what did I do? I cashed in. Didn't say he cashed in on Brock Lesnar, who was the champion. He said he cashed in on Roman Reigns, because technically he pinned Roman. He said, "I pinned Roman Reigns. I won the WWE Championship, and honestly, I should be the one at Money in the Bank challenging Roman for the Universal title, not Edge." And as he's doing this, somebody's in the back, and you see their shadow up on the wall, and they're moving around. They're like standing in one place, they're like moving around like this. You see their shadow. All of a sudden, the light on the elevator, the up arrow, dings. You don't hear it, but you see it light up. The up arrow lights up. Elevator swoops open, and who walks out of the damn elevator? Michael Hayes. Goddamn BS Michael Hayes. During this segment, just walks out of the elevator. And he just takes a left? No. Takes a right and goes on his merry way. Edge eventually shows up. I thought that was so funny that it's just like, you're doing this segment, and Seth's cutting this great promo, and there's two distractions in the background. Somebody's shadow on the wall, and then fucking Michael Hayes. Anyways, Edge shows up. He basically says, "You haven't changed much since 2014. And basically teases wanting to fight Seth Rollins. Edge noted while Rollins complains, he went on, took the title shot. He said, "You complained about not getting the shot. I went out and got myself the shot." So this is probably the first little emphasis, the first little crumb of Edge versus Seth Rollins for SummerSlam. They then recapped Otis destroying the Street Profits in the back. Chad Gable noted that it doesn't matter who you are, Street Profits, Edge, Roman Reigns, Otis will destroy everybody. Then we got the closing segment of the show. Hold on. Brian Lazaro says, I did. Never mind. That doesn't even make sense. Did you know it was Michael Hayes? Let's say I did not know it was Michael Hayes. How can you not know that's Michael Hayes? All white, fedora hat, fucking white slacks, white vest, white hat, Who else is going to dress like... Who else is going to fucking dress like that? Nobody. Nobody else is going to be dressed like that. Fucking color coordinated to a T. White slacks, white vest, look like a peach salmon undershirt, white hat. That's fucking P.S. Michael Hayes. Doot. Cesaro says, how do you know it was Michael Hayes? It was too fast to see, I mean. Again, how can you not know that was Michael Hayes? Hold on. Let me go on Twitter and see if I can find a picture. It was 1,000% obvious that was Michael Hayes. Hold on. There's got to be somebody that caught it on Twitter. Because I can't rewind using the Fox Sports app. Or I was going to... Like, I literally was going to screenshot it. But my screenshot thing hit just right after he walked off screen. Nobody got a shot. Many. Oh, here we go. Okay, hold on. All right, I'm not going to play the audio. 10-second clip here. Tell me this is not... Like, how can you say, how can you tell it's Michael Hayes? Of course this is Michael Hayes. All right, we're going to play this right here. No audio. Elevator is about to open. You see the up arrow. Who the fuck you think that is? White pants, white vest, white hat, fanny pack. That's Michael frickin' Hayes. If anybody tries to say, hey, oh, it ain't, or how can you tell? Tell me it's not. Look at it. And this is not on slow-mo. This is the actual clip. Yes, it's zoomed in. Because the person whoever took this zoomed it in. But that's fucking Michael Hayes. How can you not say that? How can you be like, oh, how can you tell? Of course you can tell. Look at Michael Hayes coming out the elevator. Inside the Yuling Center. Anyways, we get our main event segment. Edge calling out Roman Reigns. Edge tells the Usos, well, actually, Edge is in the ring first. And he goes, you know, Roman, I'm calling you out. If you have the balls, you come out here by yourself. Like, it says a couple other things, and then we cut to Roman's locker room. And Roman looks at the Usos and goes, guys, stay back here. I'm going to take care of Edge. So they're standing there. And Roman and Paul Heyman walk off. And the Usos stay. They listen. So we get to Gorilla. And then they cut to Edge, and Edge is waiting, and they get to Gorilla. And Roman's got the belt and goes, Paul, keep this back here. So he gives the belt to Paul Heyman, says, I got this. I'm going to go out there by myself. Roman's music hits. Edge gets excited. Roman starts making his way out, and they cut back to his locker room where the Usos go, just something. We can't wait here. And Jay goes, what do you think? It's a trap? And Jimmy's like, yes, we got to go. Now. They get their jackets off, they throw them down, they go. Roman gets to the end of the ramp, and he looks up at Edge in the ring. All of a sudden, Uso! Dun, 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 dun. And the Usos come out, and Roman gets pissed. And he's just like, fuckers just stay in the back. I told them. The Usos come down, and they go right up next to Roman. And Roman's kind of looking at him like, I told you to stay in the back. And they're like, we got your back, Oos. And Roman jumps into the ring, goes after Edge. They jump up on the ring, and all of a sudden, booyaka, booyaka, 619. Rey Mysterio's music would hit. So the Usos are standing on the edge of the ring, on the ramp, on the apron, looking up the ramp, thinking, okay, where's Rey? Where's Dom? But they come from the other side. Steel chairs in hand. Crack both Usos. They go flying off of the apron, and the Mysterios are on the attack of the Usos as Edge and Roman are going at it in the ring. Edge and Roman start brawling and whatnot. Edge hits a DDT on Reigns and sets him up for a spear, but Jay grabs the leg of Edge so he can't run for the spear. Jimmy then hits a super kick. The Mysterios jump back in the ring and hit double 619s on the Usos. Dominic, so good. Like, who would have thought a year ago Dominic was just Ray's kid? Now he is a champion. And nobody questions when he's put in high-profile stuff like this. It's just, oh, yeah, Dominic's there. Okay, cool. Regardless, they hit the double 619s. Edge then hits the spear on Jay. Edge then breaks off a piece of the chairs. Roman retreats up the ramp and watches. Edge then applies the crossface to Jimmy with the bar. Roman looks like a fucking lion ready to pounce. Roman looks like Scar when he was ready to kill Mufasa. The way his hair's flowing like a fucking lion's mane or whatever you call it. Like Roman standing up there looking jacked and swole as all fucking hell. Got the black hair just flowing all perfect. And I'm just like, God damn, he looks like a lion ready to fucking kill a gazelle or something. But he stands at the top of the ramp and just watches as Jay then gets put in the crossface with the bar as well. And Jay sells us like he's fucking dying because his eyes start rolling back into his head. And fucking Roman's just standing up there, again, like a lion, just fucking, what do I fucking do? Edge just got my number. He's got my guys. But if I go down there, I'm 3-on-1. And, well, show goes off the air with Roman looking pissed, walking to the back as Edge applies the crossface to Jimmy. That's how the show goes off the air. The final Friday Night Smackdown from the Thunderdome. So, as far as next week's show does go, we know the women's title match. Bianca Belair defending against Carmella, but also in a fatal four-way match, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, Big E, and Seth Rollins will all battle. The men that are representing SmackDown and Money in the Bank. Also, we learned some stuff for Raw. Finally going to get, which we were supposed to get this past week, Xavier Woods versus Bobby Lashley, and fatal four-way match for the women, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Ash, Asuka, Naomi. But with that, that was Friday Night Smackdown. I thought it was a pretty good show. It wasn't great by any means, but I thought it was good, and it really built up towards the next pay-per-view, that Money in the Bank, a week from Sunday. But with that, remember, if you guys want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. But let's check the polls first. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 71% of you liked tonight's SmackDown, with 29% thinking it was just all right. As far as the YouTube poll does go, 76% of you did like the show, 15% thought it was all right, and 9% didn't like tonight's SmackDown. But with that, let's check the text messages, see what we got. This person here says, if Morgan wins Money in the Bank, do you see her cashing in on the Raw Women's Champion or the SmackDown Women's Champion? Too soon to tell. Too soon to tell because, well, A, that's a question you could say, if anybody wins, what champion do you think they cash in on? I mean, she said that she wants Carmella to become the champion and she wants to cash in on Carmella, but that ain't going to happen, so I don't know. First says, I can see Edge beating Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Bro, you're high. There's no godly way Edge wins that title of Money in the Bank. Like, if you think that, you smoking that tarantula or something. Like, you high a kite. First says, with the field set for Money in the Bank, who do you see winning? Personally, I like Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins to win. Finally make Seth a babyface, the SmackDown Savior. Why would he be the SmackDown Savior if he's Money in the Bank? Typically, Money in the Bank goes to a heel anyways. It's better on a heel, but I don't see Seth or KO winning. I can see Drew winning and then moving to SmackDown. And for some godly reason, for some weird reason, I've got this gut feeling that they might put it on John Morrison. I don't know why, but I feel like they might put it on Morrison, and then he's going to fail his cash-in. Chris says, every time I see Carmella, I think to myself, damn, she's hot as hell. Okay, I'm not even going to... We're not even going to go into talk about women and their looks, because that's not what this is about. They're all athletes. They're all competitors. They're all professional wrestlers. They're not eye candy. I know Carmella's gimmick is, I'm the most beautiful woman in WWE, but sorry, if you're going to come first line of your text message is, damn, hot as hell, I ain't even going to read your text message because we don't degrade women like that here. Trust me. I've had guys that wanted to write for the website and do articles like that, top 10 hottest women in WWE, and I said, bro, don't even come at me again with that shit. I'm not even going to have you work on my website. But next text message says, I have no idea why Tegan Nox was called up. Shotzi. If WWE was going to call Shotzi up, at least bring Ember. Exactly what I said. If you want Shotzi up in a tag team, then she needs Ember because those two are fucking an amazing team. Shotzi and Ember work so well together. Why not bring them up together? Oh! Says what happened to Tegan Nox finishing up her feud with Candice LeRae. I mean, they could still do it. Who knows? Remember when Kevin Owens first came up to the main roster as NXT champion? He still did some things in NXT. Remember when Ty Dillinger, the now Shawn Spears, first came up to the main roster? He still finished his feud with Eric Young and Sanity. So they can still do the one match or whatever against, like they can have Tegan versus Candice where Candice beats Tegan to run her out of NXT. Says, with her impressive performance tonight, how do you think Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox will fare on SmackDown? I think they'll do great on SmackDown. I think they will do fantastic. This last one says, are these official call-ups or just one-time things? If so, why bring Tegan back to NXT with the battery charge? Bro, your guess is as good as mine. And yes, these are legit call-ups. These aren't just one-time things. These are legit. They're on SmackDown now. Why they did the whole battery thing for Tegan? Just for the Candice thing. I guess. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But with that, that's going to do it for our review here of Friday Night Smackdown. I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so by texting in. No, you can do so by following us at Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited and follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. So with that, guys, have a great night. Have a great rest of have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday for Monday Night Raw. See you then. All right, guys, let's go.